It begins in silence, a quiet night, a still room, a world that has no idea what's about to happen. You sleep, unaware that something ancient, something biological, something fundamental is rewriting itself inside you. When morning comes, you feel different, not in a dramatic way, not at first, just heavier, denser, as if gravity has tightened its grip on your body. You stretch, your joints pop, your muscles ache, but your bones, they feel like stone, cold, solid, unyielding. You stumble out of bed, still half asleep, and your foot catches the edge of a dresser. You fall, hard. Your shoulder slams into the floor. Your head hits the wall. You brace for the familiar shock of pain. The crack, the fracture. But nothing breaks. Not your arm, not your ribs, not your skull. Your bones are unbreakable. And within hours, the world realizes this isn't a miracle. It's the beginning of a biological catastrophe. Human bones are marvels of evolution, strong, flexible, self-repairing. But they're not meant to be flawless. Bones break for a reason. A fracture is a pressure release, a way to protect the rest of the body from catastrophic force. But now, bones don't bend, they don't crack, they don't yield, and the forces that used to shatter them have to go somewhere else. A fall that once caused a broken wrist now tears every ligament in the arm. A car crash that once fractured ribs now ruptures lungs. A blow to the chest that once cracked bone now bursts blood vessels deep inside the body. The skeleton survives, the body does not. Humanity learns quickly. Unbreakable bones don't make you stronger. They make you fragile in every other way. Your skull is now a perfect sphere of indestructible bone. But your brain is still soft, still vulnerable, still human. Normally, a skull fracture relieves pressure. It gives swelling somewhere to go. But now, a minor concussion becomes a death sentence. A small bleed becomes unstoppable. A bump on the head becomes a ticking clock. Doctors try to drill into the skull, but the bone resists every tool, every saw, every laser. Neurosurgery becomes impossible. Brain injuries become untreatable. Your skull, once a guardian, becomes a sealed chamber, a pressure cooker, a trap. A perfect bone becomes a perfect prison. Bones aren't rigid rods. They flex, they twist, they absorb shock. Every step you take relies on tiny movements in your skeleton, movements you've never noticed. But now, your bones refuse to move. Your joints strain against unyielding anchors. Your muscles pull against structures that no longer give. Walking becomes stiff. Running becomes dangerous. Jumping becomes unthinkable. Your spine, once a flexible column, becomes a rigid pillar. Your ribs, once expanding with every breath, become a cage that barely moves. Breathing becomes shallow. Pain becomes constant. Movement becomes a negotiation between your will and your biology. You are alive, but trapped inside a body that no longer cooperates. Children's bones grow through soft plates of cartilage. These plates expand, stretch, and slowly harden over time. But if bones become unbreakable overnight, those plates freeze instantly. Children stop growing. Their limbs remain short. Their skulls remain small. their bodies remain unfinished. A generation becomes locked in incomplete forms, frozen at whatever stage they were in when the transformation occurred. Evolution halts, human development collapses. Humanity becomes a species of biological statues. Hospitals become overwhelmed within hours. Doctors can't set fractures, insert pins, replace joints, repair deformities, access bone marrow, perform spinal surgery, relieve skull pressure. Even CPR becomes nearly impossible. You can't compress the chest. You can't crack ribs to reach the heart. Emergency medicine collapses. Orthopedics becomes obsolete. Trauma care becomes guesswork. Humanity enters a medical dark age, not because we lack knowledge, but because we can no longer reach the parts of the body that need help. At first, people feel invincible. They test their limits. They jump from heights. They crash cars. They fight. But soon, the truth spreads. You can still die. You can still suffer. You can still be crushed, suffocated, burned, drowned, or torn apart. Your bones won't break, but everything else will. And the injuries are worse, more violent, more permanent. People become terrified of movement, terrified of falling, terrified of impact. The world becomes a population of fragile beings trapped inside indestructible cages. Sports end overnight. Construction halts. Transportation becomes dangerous. Military operations fail. Emergency services collapse. Every job that requires physical risk becomes impossible. Humanity becomes sedentary, fearful, fragile. A species built on movement becomes a species afraid to move. Civilization slows, then stumbles, then fractures. In theory, yes, but only in small numbers. We'd need exoskeletons, soft impact environments, new medical tools, new ways to relieve pressure, new forms of mobility. New ways to grow children, new ways to treat the brain. Humanity would adapt, but slowly, painfully, desperately. We'd become a species of living statues, stronger than steel on the outside, and catastrophically fragile on the inside. A paradox of evolution, a biological contradiction. A body built to survive, that can no longer live, and all of it begins the moment your bones refuse to break.